Hello and welcome back to my Manifesto Success series. This is your second chapter and seventh section, and I'm gonna talk about today ignorance of failure or lesson learned from that. I'm your host Priya Mishra, and if you haven't been liking or sharing, commenting, please do so. I really highly appreciate if you can share this to the people who can benefit it. So let's get started. Life is a process. We rise up and fall down. We succeed and we fail. But these experiences hold important lessons for us. Once we need to learn if we hope to be a success in business and life. A quote from Rocky Balboa that always inspires me. Our greatest glory is not of failing but in rising every time we fail. We find our inner strength, something when you feel like giving up, when nothing seems to work you have to dig deep. Find that inner strength to keep pushing forward. It gets you through the worst of time. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about learning how to dance in the rain. Vivian Greene. Failure will often persuade you to try something new, and you will keep drifting until you finally succeed at something, and that is where most of us stay. It's a mediocrity that comes from the success without failure. Failure reminds us that we really want to in life. If we experience a failure while in pursuit of an important goal, we'll push ourselves even harder. We'll lean into our resilience to move ahead. At other times, a failure is a good time to re-evaluate our strategies and to shift gears. Warren Bennis once said, "All great leaders have without exception experienced traumatic failure. It is as if that moment the iron entered their soul, that moment created the resilience that leaders need." When you need an obstacle, turn it into an opportunity. You have the choice. You can overcome and be a winner, or you can allow it to overcome and be a loser. The choice is yours and you're alone. Refuse to throw in a towel. So go the extra mile that failure refused to travel. It is far better to exhausted from success than to be rested from failure. Mary Kay Ash. Failure is the quickest path to success for any business. It is time to stop fearing failures and learn to embrace it. Why is featured a problem? It isn't failure itself is not a problem. According to David Nigel, a long-time personal growth coach and the author of the book The Million Within about entrepreneurialism and failure, the only problem with the failure is the shame that our society has wrapped up around it. We all experience shame from failure. We experience it at a young age in school and from the parents, but many of us have also been the opposite side, tearing down those above us for making even the smallest of mistake. Unfortunately, our society is great at building people up in their success, but second they make a mistake, we demonize them and shame them. We talk about their mistakes a lot of time more than their success and the good things. As a result, people have become obsessed with avoiding failure. Parents seems to be specifically fearful of their children failing, which is apparently from the recent college administration scandal and the emergence of the snowplow parents. But in reality, failure is one of the best things that can happen to anyone, especially children. The earlier you will learn through your failure, the better it will be for you in going forward in your life. Failure is the quickest path to success. Failure shouldn't be avoided, it should be welcomed. In fact, Nigel argued and that failure in the quickest path to success. It may seem counterintuitive, and if it is warrant for the failure we have had in our business personal life and the lesson learned from them, we would still be stagnating on the verge of bankruptcy breakdowns. As a business owner, failure allows you to find out where your weak spots are, then where you ignorant, and what skills you and your team needs to learn. It shows what you need to do is scale your business, and the faster business owner can learn that, the faster they will be succeeding. It also allows you to find out the weakest spot and find the right suitable person to fill that spot. It means you are never taking risk, and if you are ignoring all that aspect, you are never taking risk. But there is another more critical phenomena. The more you avoid failure, the more likely it is that failure will happen in a way that will completely devastate your business. You are not prepared for that. Learning how to bounce back from the failure at early age helps prepare you to anything down the road. Getting to know failure is important. You should know through others' story, through others' history, that what kind of a failure could happen in given certain type of scenario. As we know now, the key to successful business is to embrace failure. However, counterintuitive it may seem, but how does one accomplish time? The first step to acknowledge that you are not the failure. Instead of looking at a mistake and saying I'm failure, you need to be saying what I did failed or what I did didn't work. It was nothing to do with you or who you are as a person, but by extension, business failures have nothing to do with the business itself. Even if a company goes bankrupt, the company itself is not a failure. That what the people at the company chose to do simply didn't work, and that's okay. It's the choices you make. But if you learn the lesson from the others, there will be less chance of occurring that incident. In your company, it's important to allow your leaders to encourage responsible failure. Knowing the risk and actually taking the educated risk is also important. Encouraging failure with the people that works for us bring that creativity. It encourages people to try new things and adopt the adversity that happening within the workplace. And ultimately, that's where big breakthrough happens in business. Companies who aren't ready to embrace failure become fear-based. And in fear-based organization, people will stick to what worked yesterday or last month or last year. In business, doing things the way you are always done them is a death sentence. It removes any room for growth into improvement. Instead, we need to embrace failure to find out what's going on work next and what next to be used in workplace. Reality check. When you have never failed at any time, we feel invincible. Failure gives us a reality check, much like storms, earthquakes, and tsunami, which reminds us we do not have control over everything. And my next suggestion is be innovative. Failure makes you innovative. It cultivates the habits of experimenting, failing, getting up, starting once again the fresh idea and clear vision. It lets you play with the various imaginary thoughts and come out of the most viable idea and extend the boundaries of possibilities from well-established fact, and together they make you creative. A series of experiments might go on vain and appears of no significance. Nevertheless, don't ever stop experimenting, because that's how you discover your youth. Invent things and become creative. The greatest scientist ever, Thomas Alva Edison, fails thousands of times, but he never stopped experimenting. And my next and very important point to highlight here, be strong. It's a failure that builds up your never give up attitude. It teaches you to paddle your own way across the ocean of trouble. It motivates you to keep running until you reach the goal. They traverse the wild road and desert and climb up the cliff of mountain until you reach to the pinnacle. Failure creates the path to success in return of your little courage, little more strength to endure the temporary pain or loss, and a little bit mighty to be still and steady. Bring values. The failure is an alternative route that lays a foundation of better understanding for worthwhile life. It is instructive that coaches you to make significant choices of life. While going through lessons of failure, you become a man of value, a man of perseverance, discipline, and a strong attitude that together make your success from glorious. Don't disgrace the value of failure, as failing intelligently is one of the greatest art of life. And you know what? Finally, conquer yourself. Failures demand your persistence, commitment, consistent action towards the accomplishment of your dream, through which you learn to control your thoughts, know the mighty person dwelling inside, and eliminate jealousy, hatred, selfishness. It ultimately makes you wise to have a better judgment and choice of life. It is better to conquer yourself than a win 1,000 battle. Then the victory of yours, it cannot be taken from you. not by anger or by demons, heaven or hell. Buddha. I leave it here with Buddha. See you in our next episode. Thanks for listening.